Can Manchester United actually win the Europa League? Welcome back to another episode of The Football Chemist, where we use data and analytics to go through football's biggest talking points without confusing you with all of the technical jargon. On this episode, we'll break down Manchester United's chances of winning the Europa League this season. It is the last chance for Ruben Amorim to get his hands on any silverware for United this season, and to salvage what has been, to be honest, quite a dismal campaign across all fronts. They take on Real Sociedad in the round of 16, but who are the key players for United who can get them to win this tournament? And what is holding them back from making them one of the favourites to win the tournament? Let's find out. Let's not mince words here. Man United's season has been a disaster so far. They are 14th in the Premier League, 14 points off top four, and have got fewer than half the points of the league leaders and bitter rivals Liverpool. There have even been talks about them getting relegated this season. Their form had dropped off that much when Ruben Amorim arrived, but fortunately for them, it looks like they're safe for this season. However, United are not a club who should be mid-table, but the Europa League is their last chance to salvage any dignity at all from this season. So who are the key players for Ruben Amorim to use that gives United fans some hope that they could potentially win the Europa League this season? The first is their talisman, Bruno Fernandes. I'm going to admit it off the bat, I've not always been Bruno Fernandes' biggest fan. I've always had a few questions about his attitude, and his form has been peaky, depending on how well the team has been playing. But there's no doubt that he has been the standout player for United this season, alongside Amad Diallo. On his day, he is a world-class player. His passing ability is up there with some of the best. When De Bruyne was in his prime for Man City, people were talking about Bruno Fernandes being on the same level. That is how good he can be when he gets it all together. Also, whilst he does have some attitude problems and some discipline problems, he picks up a lot of yellow cards for dissent, by the way. When he is working well, his defensive work rate is really up there when you compare him to other attacking midfielders and other midfielders in general. He covers a lot of the pitch and he does a lot of the jobs that you'd expect a three-man midfield to do on his own. And this is shown when we take a look at his polygon here. Look how rounded he is. This is comparing him to other attacking midfielders rather than central midfielders, but you can see that whilst he's compared to other key creative players in positions where they tend to play a bit further forward than him, he is still dominating the statistics for progressive passes and key passes. The big numbers for passing and creative play are the ones that Bruno Fernandes is doing the best in, even though he does play slightly further back. I know he's mainly been playing in that front three for United under Amorim, but naturally he's a midfielder, not a winger. So to still be up there with these numbers is very impressive indeed. Yes, his raw attacking numbers are down compared to the other attackers, but that is to be expected. But he more than makes up for it with his interceptions, blocks and tackles. And this creativity is evident when we take a look at this scatter plot here, where we're looking at every single Premier League player in terms of their progressive passes and their key passes. As you can see, any player who's up in the top right-hand corner of this graph is doing very well indeed for their club. And the player who's made the most progressive passes so far in the Premier League is Fernandes. Look how much better he is than any of his rivals. The next best player is Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is 29 passes below him. And that's a pretty significant gap, as you can see from the graph. So clearly his progressive play is very good. United might be playing mid-table, but Fernandes is performing like a player who belongs in a top team and deserves to be winning top trophies. And this creative side of his game is further emphasised when we look at his shot-creating actions compared to his goal-creating actions. Again, when we take a look at it, it's not quite as stark, but you can see that he is still very much looking towards that top right-hand corner. And the reason why he is not higher up is because he is quite simply being let down by his teammates. When you look at the shot-creating actions, he's second best. He's only behind Cole Palmer. But goal-creating actions, we see he is lagging behind his competitors, and that's through no fault of his own. If he's creating shot-creating actions, it shows he's creating chances. But if his goal-creating actions are down, this is because his teammates are not converting those chances. And that is why we can see that he is well under this line. The players who are under this line are more being let down by their teammates, whereas players above the line here are ones where their teammates are almost flattering their numbers a bit. Therefore, we can see that Bruno Fernandes' creative play is just being let down by his teammates rather than any fault of his own. It's been well documented how good Fernandes has been over the last couple of months, but he is only one player. Can he really drag United all the way to the final? There'll be a lot of other good teams there, and he can only do so much. One off day and United could be out. However, he does have support in midfield, mainly through their new signing, Manuel Ugarte. Manuel Ugarte arrived at United from PSG this summer for a fairly hefty price tag too. It took him a while to settle in, but now he is very much embedded in the United team. And by looking at his numbers, we can really see how he has improved over the last few months and is beginning to settle in that Man United midfield. His passing game has come on leaps and bounds since the start of this season, and he is really establishing himself as a great tackler in the Premier League. This is really important for a team who wants to play against top teams. Look how Fabinho did it for Liverpool back in the day, or how Rodri does it for Man City. It is so important. We're seeing with City especially how much they missed that with Rodri when he's not in the team. But it is still early days. Let's not forget that. He's only had half a season at United. He's still only 23, and he's got a lot of growing to do before he becomes an elite player. But he is demonstrating a lot of potential to become a top player. Because when we look at his polygon, we can see how he is developing into a true number 6. He is lacking in other areas, but that is fine because his numbers for interceptions, blocks and tackles are really up there with some of the best. And when you're that good as a defensive midfielder, you don't need the other numbers. Just focus on your defensive play and you'll be more than contributing to your team, especially when he's got someone like Fernandes in the team with him. And the reason why Ugarte is so encouraging as we head to the run-in and as United look to go deep in this tournament is because his numbers are improving throughout the season. Take a look at this graph here where we compare his first 10 matches this season with his last 10 matches. It's a bit hard to see here because the touches bars do distort it a bit, but what we can see here is he's improving in many different metrics. His tackling's getting better, which is really important when you're looking to win that ball in the middle third and really stop those counter-attacks, get your team back on the front foot and really make the most of that counter-pressing play. For me, the one that really impresses me though is his long passes. You can see he's completing a lot more long passes than he was in his first 10 matches. This shows that his confidence is growing and he is beginning to stretch the opposition defence and midfield a bit more than he was at the start. I said before that one of his weaknesses was that he's a bit conservative with his play, but this shows that he is trying to build on this and trying to improve this. Finally, look at his touches. This is a really big jump for him in terms of the number of touches he is getting in a match. It shows he's more confident to take the game by the scruff of its neck and really dictate it and control it alongside players like Fernandes. If he can keep this up and if he can bring this to the Europa League, then this could be really important for United. However, the bright spots in the United team have been few and far between. Fernandes and Ugarte are two of the only real bright spots. Diallo has also been one, but he's out for the season. Now, let's take a deeper look at what's really holding them back. What's holding United back? One word: goals. No one really looks like scoring for them. Only 2 players have got more than 5 goal involvements for them in the Premier League so far this season. Fernandes and Amad Diallo. And Diallo is out for the season, so he won't be providing any more goals. There are so many other forwards who need to step up, and they're just not doing this. United are lagging behind their rivals so much in terms of their attacking play. It is really worrying. And let's take a look at some of the forwards who are letting United down and need to step up their game if they want to challenge in the Europa League. The 3 that I've highlighted are Alejandro Garnacho, Joshua Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund. There's been a lot of talk on Højlund and his lack of goal contributions, which is alarming, and he's clearly a player who is lacking in confidence. He does have the talent, there's just something not working for him, and he needs to get over that mental block. And for his sake, I really hope he does sometime soon, because it's never nice to see a player struggling like Højlund is. But it's not just the lack of goals or lack of assists for United's forwards. Their underlying numbers show that they're not getting in a position where they can even get these goals or assists. Because if we look at United's forwards for expected goals per 90 and compare them with their league rank here, you see Garnacho is doing well. He's in the top 10, which is very good. And whilst Fernandes and Diallo are up there, Zirkzee and Højlund are nowhere near where they should be for a forward for a Big Six club who wants to be winning trophies. Quite simply, this is not good enough. And it gets even worse when we look at the shots per 90 as well. Again, Garnacho's up there. He's doing his job well. Fernandes and Diallo are there or thereabouts, but look how low Xerxes and Højlund are. I don't want to beat a dead horse too much, but in terms of shots per 90, Højlund currently lies between Malo Gusto for Chelsea and Ricardo Calafiori for Arsenal. It's not good, is it? And unfortunately, it just gets worse when we look at the touches in the attacking penalty area. Again, Garnacho's not doing badly. Diallo's doing very well as well. Fernandes could be better, but this isn't really his role. Diogo Dalot is 4th for Man United as a wing-back. And I'll get onto the wing-backs later, but it's never a good look when a full-back is in your top 4 touches in the attacking penalty area. Again, though, Højlund is outside the top 100. He's 117th. He is just above Gabriel for Arsenal. He should not be anywhere near defenders in terms of this metric, and it is really concerning, even if you are a centre-back like Gabriel, who likes to get amongst the goals and get shots off. And while it is easy to target Højlund for this, the other players aren't stepping up enough. Garnacho's numbers are good here, but he's not delivering in terms of raw goals and assists. Xerxes needs to up his game too, but to be honest, I'm not exactly a revolutionary for saying that Højlund, Xerxes and Garnacho need to do better. But there are other problems in the United team, and this is something that Amorim can directly address. So it's been well documented that Ruben Amorim has wanted to persist with 3 at the back for United, even if it's not working. In fact, he is only one of 3 Premier League managers who regularly uses 3 at the back this season. The other 2 are fellow lower mid-table dwellers, Wolves and Crystal Palace. This is not a company that United want to be in, but it is a company they currently find themselves in right now. Amorim is absolutely adamant to make this work, even if he doesn't have the right players. And quite simply, I know I love to bang on about fullbacks on this channel, but I am going to blame the fullbacks here, because his wingbacks, his first choice wingbacks at least, are Diogo Dalot and Nusa Mazraoui. Patrick Dorgu has come in and is more of a genuine wingback, but he will still need time to get bedded into the team, and he is still very young. So for now, we'll just go look at Dalot and Mazraoui. Fortunately, we can compare their numbers quite well with Wolves and Crystal Palace as fullbacks too, because they've played a similar number of minutes, so we can draw some pretty good conclusions on how the 3 sides stack up in terms of their wing-back contributions. First of all, let's take a look at the goal contributions. It's not a good look at all. Mazraoui and Dalot have got 1 assist each, which is not enough at all. They're being outclassed by Crystal Palace and Wolves, who are both consistent mid-table teams. Quite simply, if United want to make 3 at the back work, and be a top half team, and be a team who challenges for the Europa League, they need more output from their wing backs. It doesn't get any better when we look at shot creating actions either. Mazraoui is actually doing alright here. He's there or thereabouts with the Wolves ones at least, and only slightly behind Munoz and Mitchell. Dalot though is well off the pace. And again, United should be above these players, not fighting to be competing with them. Albeit Munoz has been very good this season, as has Aït-Nouri, and could be moving on to a bigger club. And then the key passes just show it gets worse and worse. Again, it's Dalot and Mazraoui in the bottom 2 here, which is just not good enough at all. I sound like a broken record here, constantly going on about how they're lagging behind Wolves and Crystal Palace, but the point just gets worse and worse every time you look at it. There's so many different ways we can look at this, and in no scenario does it show that United have got good wing backs who suit the system. This also explains their severe deficit to the other Big 6 clubs, and when we look at their goal output, it shows how far behind they are, even compared to Tottenham, who are also struggling mid-table this season. At least Tottenham's underlying numbers are alright in attack. United's just simply aren't. Look at the number of goals. They got less than half of Liverpool's. They're 15th in the league for this, and for a club like United, that is just unacceptable. The goal-creating actions don't look much better. Again, they're 15th. Again, they got fewer than half of the league leaders. And we touched on it before, but they're just not getting enough people in the attacking penalty area. When we look at the total number of touches they've had, they're lagging behind again, 12th this time. But even Tottenham are still in the top 5 for these stats. They're still showing flashes of being a Big 6 club in attack. United aren't really. They're doing all right in defence, don't get me wrong, but there's just no attacking output. It's the exact same when we look at passes into the final third. They're getting better here, they're 9th, but still well off the pace of the likes of City and Liverpool. And as for the progressive carries, it's just more of the same really. Something needs to change, And for me, it's the fact that they've got very conservative wing backs who just don't get forward enough because they are not naturally wing backs. Don't get me wrong, Dalot and Mazraoui are decent players. Dalot has done a fantastic job given that he has been playing out of position and on the wrong side to try and adapt to the Amorim system. But he is not a wing back, he is a full back. And the same with Mazraoui. Mazraoui was a shrewd signing by Ten Hag if he was going to be played as a right back, but he has not been played as a right back, and he's been played as a wing back. And we've really seen him struggle in this position, even though he has been quite good in general for United. But three at the back has not been properly played since 2017 when Chelsea won the league with it. Back then, it was in fashion, it was working well, and it is a good formation. There's a reason why only 3 clubs in the Premier League play three at the back right now, and the other 2 clubs are mid-table clubs. It's quite simply out of fashion, and Amorim is being foolish for sticking with it, especially in the Europa League. I get it if he wants to persist with it, and if he wants it to be the long-term plan, but he will need different players to make it work. Mazraoui and Dalot do not work in a 3 at the back, and if United want to win the Europa League this season, before they can make any transfers, they need to change the system. Let's call a spade here. Mazraoui is a right back. Mazraoui is not a right wing back. Get him playing in his proper position, United might have a chance. But I think Amorim needs to stop being so stubborn and change to 4 at the back. By all means, persist with 3 at the back in the long run. Maybe try it out in the Premier League where United quite simply just don't have anything really to play for. But they need to focus on the Europa League because they still have a chance of winning it. It might be an outside chance, but it is better than nothing, and it's the only thing they can get to salvage their season this year. They've got a somewhat straightforward run in the tournament, so you never know what happens. And the level to win the Europa League is not quite the same that it was a few years ago before they changed the format. You're not getting top teams dropping down from the Champions League into the Europa League, so this is their chance. And United have actually looked quite good in cups recently. Even last season when they finished 8th in the league and their underlying numbers show that they should have finished lower than that, Ten Hag still won the FA Cup, beating Man City in the final. They got to the League Cup quarterfinals this year. They do like a cup match, and a lot of that is due to having a very good fan base who gets behind them in home games. Use that Old Trafford crowd to get you over the line in these big games. It's such a cliche, but treat every game like a final, and you never know what might happen with United. But it doesn't work if you play 3 at the back. So if United want to win the Europa League, Ruben Amorim needs to change his formation, and then maybe hope that his star players such as Fernandes and Ugarte can produce a bit of magic, get a bit of luck in the way, and you never know what might happen. But what do you think? Do United have any chance whatsoever in winning a trophy this season? Can Fernandes carry them all the way to the Europa League? Who else needs to step up in the team? And would this even constitute a good season for United? Please let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a like. And check us out on Instagram and TikTok now for some more behind the scenes content. I'll see you next time.